Hi my loves, how's it going? How you guys doing? Welcome back to another video. It's finally time for a July beauty empties, and it's another month where I have a lot of stuff to get through. But I'll try to make it as quick as I can because I know sometimes these videos can be very long and there's actually a lot to get through as well. But if you guys enjoy these types of videos, please make sure you like, subscribe and comment down below, and check me out on my other socials, which are also all linked down below. But let's just dive right into the update. So as always, it's the same basket that I use, and this time it's fairly overflowing, and I think the reason for that is because I've got quite a lot of like bulky products for this month too, and I genuinely cannot wait to share some of these with you guys. So I'll just like dig whatever I can out first and then just share that with you. So first thing I used up was a shampoo. This is the Head and Shoulders Derma X Pro Scalp Care. This is soothing comfort for dry and itchy scalp. The thing with this one is when I first started using this, I generally felt like I was losing more hair, and I don't know if I necessarily feel comfortable with using said product. So that's something I need to consider, and I don't really think I will be purchasing this again. I've used that one a couple months back. This is the second one that I've used up, and I've got one in my shower right now. And honestly speaking, I can't wait to use this up so I can use something else instead. But whenever I wash my hair, I always wash it twice. So I'll shampoo the first time, leave it in my hair for a little bit, and then wash it out and then wash it my hair again. And the second time, whenever I use shampoo, whatever shampoo I use the second time on my hair, I always leave it on for like a good couple of minutes, because I feel like that really helps clean your hair, and honestly it feels really nice like that. And then the hair is like really nice and shiny and all sorts of stuff. But I just, this shampoo, for what it's supposed to be and how much it cost, just isn't really doing what it's supposed to do. So that was disappointing. So if you have any of the shampoos that you'd really recommend for people who have like dry, flaky, sort of like, I can't really tell if it's psoriasis or seborrheic dermatitis because they're both so similar. If you have something that you'd really recommend for that, but that isn't too drying, please let me know. But yeah, I don't really think I'll be repurchasing this one again. Next product, and this was something that was recommended to me by quite a few people, and I know that there was somebody who left a comment about this too. I'll like leave their comment here, or at least their username. So thank you so much for your comment because I really appreciate that. But this is the Nizoral Dandruff Treatment 2% shampoo with ketoconazole. Yeah, this was recommended by quite a lot of people, so I tried it, and honestly it does work to an extent, but then I feel like this is also very drying to my scalp. So what I do with this one is I'll always shampoo my hair with something else first, so at least I can get rid of all the other products that I've used and the oils and stuff like that, and then wash that out and then use this as the second cleanse. And then whenever I use this, I always make sure that I leave it in my hair for like a good couple of minutes. I try to leave in, it says here to leave it for 3 to 5 minutes, and then try to leave it in there for in my hair for as long as I can, at least what I think is 5 minutes, but I think is more closer to like 3 minutes if I'm being honest. And that does help to an extent, but I feel like I can't use it all the time because it does still feel like fairly drying, which is one thing I don't really like. But it's probably been the most effective thing so far that I've used, so I'll definitely be repurchasing this one again. Another bulky product is the CeraVe Blemish Control Cleanser that I've used up, and I had this for quite some time, and it was something that was getting old, and I don't really remember what year I kind of bought it in, and I feel like this is still, with that in mind, this is still like a fairly old product. So I think I got it in 2022, 23, and that's too old to have something like this in my collection to what I feel comfortable with. I know that a lot of the times they do have at least 2 years shelf life, and obviously once you open it, you have like usually between 6 months to like 12 months, but it was too old for my personal liking, and it was also the oldest in my collection, so I really had to get my head down and get this used up, and I'm so glad I did. It was a decent product. I feel like I have my few favorites that I tend to go towards, and I don't really think this kind of made the cut for me. But it was still a decent, like a basic sort of cleanser in that sense. Like if you're looking for something pretty basic, this would work really well, but I feel like I have the few things that I really like, and I just like those, so I don't really personally think I'll be repurchasing these. But I know there's people out there that really do love CeraVe, and I think you could benefit from that. But just for me, I have the other products that I really love. Another 2 products I use up with this shampoo and conditioner set. So this is both from Redken, and this is the Colourxen Magnetics shampoo and conditioner. I generally did not feel like these sort of saved my colour. I feel like obviously right now I've got like really cheap colour in my hair. By that I mean it's like also I think it's like semi-permanent anyway, so it's not supposed to last in my hair. But then whenever I feel like I use these, I feel like I lose most of the colour pigmentation. So it kind of like defeats the purpose of it being colour protecting, in my opinion. I got these as like a gift set, like a gift with purchase, when I spent, I think it was like £60 on the brand itself. And I think I bought like the full size one of these two is like a set sold on Look Fantastic, plus 2 other products from Redken, and then they threw this in as like a set. I think I had a choice of like 2 different options and I went for this one. But yeah, I don't necessarily think I would repurchase these ones, but I think there are other products from the brand that I would probably try instead. But I just don't feel like it protected the colour like I wanted it to protect. But then my hair was like coloured in a sense of like it was those colours that don't necessarily last a long time because they're like more semi-permanent shades. And it's not like a permanent colour in my hair. I think that has a part to play in this. But that being said, I'm still glad I was able to use these 2 up. And you're probably thinking, how the hell did you use up so many shampoos and stuff like that? Basically, I tend to mix a lot of the products. So what I do is most of the times I'll use this one twice when I'm washing my hair. So like yesterday I showered and I used this shampoo twice. And sometimes I shower my hair every other day. Sometimes it'll be every 3rd day. But sometimes every now and again I'll be doing it like every day. It just depends on how things are. So then what I'll do is sometimes I'll use this and then I'll pair that with the second wash will be this one. That's another way I've used these up. And then it'll be like using this one, that's the first kind, using this one and then using this conditioner. And just be mixing products like that. And I've had some of these in my shower for months. And I'm talking months, like these ones were in there for quite a long time before I even go around to use them. And then when I did, I was like, okay, let me just focus on getting these done. And that's how I end up using a lot of the products. Also, whenever you wash your hair twice, you're just going to use more shampoo than normal anyway. So that's why a lot of these products sort of just got used up so fast. So if you're wondering what the hell, I'm not like dumping so much on my hand. I'm just using shampoo twice. And then I shower fairly often because I feel like my scalp needs it. I use up another pack of wipes. I tend to buy these from Aldi. These are the LaCroix 3-in-1 cleansing biodegradable facial wipes. So they have like 3. They've got this one for sensitive skin, and there's another one. I literally just had that a while ago. I think it's like a pink one for like dry skin. But I tend to like use makeup or some products on the back of my hand, and then I feel like the best way to get it off is literally by using a makeup wipe. So I tend to keep these on hand, and I just buy them from Aldi because they're the most cheapest ones I found, and they work really well. So I use it because literally all I need it for is to either clean the products that I've, like my makeup products, or to clean the makeup off the back of my hands, and it does the job and I'm happy with that. So yeah. Another like sort of shower product I use was this Original Source Tropical Coconut Shea Butter Shower Gel. I prefer like the more mintier sort of scents in the shower, if I'm being honest, even though it just gives like a false illusion of it being, or feeling more cleansed afterwards. But I just like those type of scents as like a shower gel. And I use this one up. I had this for quite some time when I was using it up. I don't really know how many months, but it did take me a couple of months to use this product up, and it's a cheap product, so I'll definitely be like repurchasing some other scent from this company later on down the line. Just right now I don't really need to because there's quite a few backups. I'm just going through those even though they were bought by someone else in the family. But do you know what, it works for me and it does the job for me, so it's okay. Another product I sort of kept in the shower was literally this Superdrug Extracts Hair Care Argan Amla 3-in-1 hair mask. And I basically just use this. Initially when I got this, I was actually using it as like a hair mask. So I would do like a deep conditioning with this on. Like I'd wet my hair and then, well, rinse, I guess like wet it, then towel dry it, and then put this on for a couple of hours and leave it in like that. And that was like fairly hydrating. And then I started to use this like as like an after shower thing. So after I would wash my hair, like had a proper shower, I'd use all the hair products I wanted to use a little bit of this conditioner on my ends and then seal it in with like hair oil. That worked too. And then when I ran out of conditioner, I just started to use this as like a conditioning product in the shower, and that's how I was able to use this up. And I'm really glad I was, because this is a fairly good product. And honestly, I had to like figure out ways to use up some of these things, because if I didn't, I would have had this for like much longer, and it would have defeated the purpose of it being within my collection. Also, this would have expired at some point. I mean, it says 2027 on the back of it, but like, because I had it open for some time anyway, it felt like this was the best way to have it used up. And I'm glad that I did, because I'm really trying to use up a lot of the old sort of like skincare, hair care and body care products, and I needed a way to use it up. And honestly, it worked well, it did the job, so I'm happy with that. this generally feels like all over the place, but generally that's how my brain feels today. It's so fried. But another hair care product I used up was this Superdrug Trichology Soothing Scalp Serum. Because of how itchy my scalp can get sometimes, I feel like something like this is pretty useful and it's handy to have, and it somewhat does the job. So yeah, I tend to keep these on hand all the time. I'm currently on the last one, so I will have to do a repurchase at some point. But yeah, I've gone through so many bottles of these, like so many. It's actually crazy to think about. Since I discovered this like maybe in 2023, and yeah, it's a good product to have on hand all the time, and I tend to keep it on hand all the time. So if you're somebody who also struggles with like an itchy sort of scalp, I would recommend you try out the Trichology serum, and the tonic as well. But yeah, I love this. It's fairly affordable too. It's quite cheap and it's just easy to have on hand all the time. Some body care products before I move over to makeup are this Nivea deodorant, and this was just a basic deodorant. I literally took this from my mum because I couldn't bother to go to the shops or buy one because I kept forgetting to buy one, and I didn't want to do an online purchase just for the sake of a deodorant. It just didn't make any sense. So I took this from my mum because she had a spare and I used it up. And then I also had this moisturizer from Nivea. I actually really like this one. This is a really good moisturizer. This is like a small travel size product, and they're like travel size pouches that they I think used to sell at some point, and this literally just has 25 ml in it. It was such a good product. I love this so much, and if I could, I'll probably go back and buy like the bigger tub. Obviously not right now because I don't really feel like I need it right now. I have quite a few things I want to get used up before I like really start thinking about like the purchases that I really want to do. But I was just really glad to have that in the collection, and the fact that I was able to use it up as well. The last, I think, body sort of product is this Dove Summer Care antiperspirant. I'm not like the biggest fan of these because I feel like I start to get really itchy underarms as a result of these, but I tend to only keep this around when it gets extremely hot because I feel like sometimes I then would need this product. Otherwise, I'm okay in that sense. Like I used to sweat a lot more before, but not so much now. But then in the summer when it gets really, really hot, like when we had the heat wave, I feel like something like this would be useful to have, and that's when I tend to really have like use it. But because I didn't really have much, I've been trying to use it up throughout the year, and I finally had it finished, and I'm really glad because I tend to avoid these. I also don't really need something that's so big like this. A travel size one would do fine, and that would last me several months as well. So I think going forward, at the moment I do have a mini travel one that I can use whenever like I have to go out anyway, so I just chuck in the bag and go. But if I want to ever purchase something like this, I'm just gonna buy the travel size one because that lasts me so long as it is, and it just makes sense for me to use that rather than this. Even though if you think about it like in terms of money wise, a full size product is worth, it makes more sense, but then I wouldn't have it for such a long period of time. It would just become like ineffective, so there's no point in me having it, especially because I do prefer just a roll on because that works, and I only ever need something like this when it's extremely hot. Okay, the last sort of like skincare type product is this T-Zone Charcoal and Bamboo Peel Off Mask. I love this. It's a good peel off mask to just take out all the gunk from your skin, especially if you have like black hairs or sebaceous filaments. I feel like this works really well for that, but it isn't something I would say to use all the time. If I could, I'd probably use it like once or twice a month, but like I tend to forget to use things like this, and this was getting old. Like I don't remember the last time I actually bought this, but I just know that this was getting old and I really wanted to have this used up, and I'm so glad I finally did. It is a good product. It's also really cheap. I just get it from Superdrug, and when I do my next purchase from Superdrug, I will definitely be picking this one back up again. It's something I tend to keep all the time within my skincare. Also, my mum will then use something like this as well because it works really well in different parts of your face, especially if you're somebody like me who has a lot of like black hairs, spacious filaments on their nose. Something like this does help. Obviously, it doesn't get rid of everything, but it does get rid of enough that it does, like your skin does look clearer and all of that sort of stuff. So yeah, I really like this product and I will definitely be buying this one again. So the next 3 products are all perfumes I've used up, and I think I mentioned this in every single one of my videos whenever there's a perfume empty. Basically, I have a perfume project behind over on TikTok, which TikTok will be linked down below. But basically my goal is to use up all my old perfumes because I realized last year, like June, July time, that some of my older perfumes were expiring, and I was like, hell no, am I gonna let all my older perfumes just expire? I work from home, so I was actually like just not using a lot of them, and I was like, that doesn't really make sense because they're just gonna expire, so I might as well then just use them. So I've been using up a lot of my old perfumes, a lot of my samples, and just like mini perfumes that I can since last year. Like I've been very focused on it, meaning before I'd go like several days without even touching perfume, but now I try to always use perfume whenever I can, because a lot of these old products, because they're expired or close to expiring or very close to being used up, I might as well use it. Otherwise they're never going to get used, and they will never actually, they will literally just expire. So it's better for me to just use a product than leave it and let it get expired. So I've been using as many perfumes as I can. Last year I had 55. This year I'm now down to, currently I'm down to 28, I want to say. And I was actually counting mini perfumes like this, samples, all towards like the overall perfume count. And yeah, I've managed to get through quite a few perfumes, and I'm generally so happy with that. But this one is one of the first ones I use up for this month. This is the Dior Jadot one. I love the scent of this, and I really want to get like the full size one of this one because it was so good, and I really enjoyed using this. And this small little bottle actually lasted me a good couple of months as well of like constant use, and I was trying to use this whenever I was actually going out and stuff. But this is like perfect having like your like bag before you go. But me being the type of person I am, I was like, no, I just kind of want to get it used up. Like I just want it used, like I need it gone, because it's such a small perfume and it's such an easy win to have like my inventory go down. I was like, I want to like do that as much as I can, so use all the small perfumes first. But yeah, I really like this, and I definitely see this being one of those that I will repurchase, but they are very expensive, so I'll see when I buy perfumes. I'm trying to not buy anything else this year, just so that I can at least bring the total number of perfumes as close to 20 as possible, and then that will leave me with 3 ouds, and the rest of them will hopefully be the majority of my like the newest sort of perfumes. I used up this one as well. This is the Davidoff Cool Water perfume. This one actually, it smells so good, but again, by the time I got around to using it, it was expired, and it was, the scent had changed, so that, I mean, it was still similar, but when I used this perfume on myself, it smelled like I had really bad BO. But when I sprayed on my bed or like my room, it still was the original scent. So I don't know if my hormones have just changed, so this perfume is no longer working with me, or it's just, it did sort of expire, and that's why it wasn't working on myself and it's working on the surfaces around me. So this perfume I didn't use on myself. I stopped after like a couple of uses when my mum clocked onto that, and she was like, you just showered, but why do you smell? And I was like, Mum, you're so rude, like why would you say that? And she goes, no, you do. And I was like, okay, I realized I'd used this perfume, that's why, and it just wasn't working for me anymore. And then she made me very like self-conscious about that, so instead of using it on myself, I started using this on my bed sheets as like a fragrance, like on there. And honestly, it was so nice, because when I go to bed, it's such a beautiful smell that I was smelling, and I was happy with that. And I'd also use it as a room fragrance, and honestly it worked. If you've got a product that's expired, as a good way of using up perfume as like a room fragrance or like a carpet fragrance or like a bed fragrance. And honestly, why not? If I've spent the money on it, rather than just tossing it down the drain, I might as well make my surroundings smell nice if I can. So yeah, I'm glad I was able to use that one up as well. The last perfume I used up was this one. This is the Ariane perfume from Ariana Grande, and this one I'd been tracking for quite some time, and then I got to a point I was like, okay, I don't really have that much left, let me just use it up. And I'm not that consistent in terms of like updating the projects over on TikTok anyway, but yeah, I use this one up. This one is really nice. I don't know why I'm smelling it. I can't smell anything anyway because I've got a blocked nose, but this one was a nice one. I can see myself repurchasing this one. Also, this is like fairly, I mean, this was on sale when I got it, so it was fairly affordable by the time I did actually buy it. And I feel like it would make like a decent like work perfume as well, but it also makes a good perfume for people who are younger, because the scent isn't too crazy. It's more like on the slightly sweeter, fruitier sort of side, and I don't mind that too much. But I'm glad I was able to use this up, because this was another one that was getting quite old, and I was worried that it was gonna expire, or it was very close to expiring. So yeah, I'm glad I've used that up too. I tend to try and use as many of my old perfumes as I can, and sometimes mix them up with like the smaller perfumes, so I don't constantly use stuff that's like very close to expiring and get very frustrated with that, because it's just, otherwise I don't want to like stop doing what I'm doing, because I've made so much progress as it is, and I would like to continue said progress. And hopefully by the end of the year I can actually see myself having used up a few more things, so hopefully it goes well. We shall see. We shall definitely see. The last of the products are all like makeup related products. The first thing I want to talk about is these few beauty blenders. that I was using to do my makeup. They look disgusting, they are gross, they probably have mold growing inside them. I've had these for so long and I'm so glad I'm finally calling these quits, because they've been around for so freaking long and my makeup just was no longer working with these. But they did the job for a long time and I'm really happy that I was able to use them up. Both the black beauty blenders were from Spectrum collection and I do feel like their beauty blenders are fairly decent. Currently I'm using one from Artitude Cosmetics and I actually really like their beauty blender too. I think that one is so good as well. So yeah, that's just that was like an easy one for the month, because I think I've been using it since the start of the year and I was like, no, it's a bit too long to have used these for, and let me just toss these and get something new. So that's thankfully done. I also used up a brow gel. This is the brow lift from e.l.f. Cosmetics. This is done. This was the second one of the year and yeah, I kind of flew through this product. I can definitely see myself repurchasing this one in the future. I will do that at some point, just not right now, because I have a brow soap and one other brow product, so I don't really need these anytime soon. Also, I need to keep in mind, and this is something I need to remind myself of, that e.l.f. products expire very quickly, so there's no point me buying something now and I'm not going to be able to use it for like next year or year and a half. It doesn't make sense, but yeah, this is a good, like, fairly affordable product. I do actually like this. I do tend to use this a lot, but then I do sometimes feel like it doesn't really hold my brows the way that I need to hold them. So yeah, I'm just glad I was able to at least get to try to use these, and it worked for most of the times when I needed it to work. Used up a setting spray. This is from Barium. This is the Fixation Setting Spray with Aronia Berry Vitamin C. This was a nice one. This actually, I felt like it used to melt the powders really well into each other and it didn't make my face look very sort of dry or like, not cakey, but I feel like today you can kind of see it's still kind of dry. But I really like this. I will definitely be buying this one again at some point. Also, I feel like Barium does do some really good cosmetics. They have some really nice things that stand out. I feel like this setting spray is one of them. I do feel like any setting spray I have tried so far from them has been quite good. I've tried the other one which has mushroom extract, I think, in it, and that was also quite nice. But this one did definitely take the first place stand for me, and I will definitely be buying this one again in the future at some point. I just don't know when. I will do that purchase probably now around Black Friday. I'm trying not to buy any more makeup. I mean, I broke my nose by several times. It is what it is at this point. But yeah, hopefully I can buy this around that time, because at the moment I've got a couple of other setting sprays I can like try and use up. But yeah, this was actually a really good product and I really like this. Another product I used up was this Swede Cosmetics Pro Lash Lift Mascara. I actually really like this one too, and this is another one that works really well for my lashes. Unfortunately, just the way that my lashes are, not a lot of mascaras tend to work for them or give them any sort of lift. So today at least you can kind of see that I'm wearing mascara, but a lot of the other mascaras don't even work this much on my eyes, which is really, really sad. This one, when I first use it, it's always like a bit too watery, but then when it's sort of like after a couple of uses, it started to like slowly dry down a little bit, and it works really, really nice, and I really like this. This is now the second one I've used up since I've sort of discovered this brand, and both the times I actually got this as like a free gift purchase or as part of a beauty box or something along those lines. But I'm really happy with this mascara. I really like this, and eventually I will probably repurchase this one myself because it is a really good product, and I need to try more from Swede Cosmetics. I feel like they have some nice products but just not enough. Like, I've not really ever paid much attention to them, and I think I probably should, but they have really good products and I really like this. The last product is this NARS Sheer Glow Foundation in the shade Patagonia. I've had this for so long, literally had this for so long. By the time I sort of started to use, which was sort of, I want to say in the last couple of months of 2024, I realised that this was expired because it started to have that sort of weird chemically smell. And I had this for quite some time. I think I bought it back in 2021, I want to say. And it's as great of a foundation it is, it just didn't really work most of the time as I was using it. And it only took me to last year to realise this works a lot better for me in the winter times, because one, my skin is not oily or very rarely oily, but two, because this foundation just, because I have oily skin, this will never work for me in the summer because the oils will just start to like break through the foundation, and it will never work for me no matter how much powder I use. Even though this foundation actually is really beautiful because it's more for the sheer, on the sheerer side, and sometimes that's literally all the coverage that I want. And I realise as well that as much as I do love a good like full coverage foundation, sometimes it's nice just to have a good sheer product as well like this. I really enjoy this, but I think I need one shade lighter if I am going to buy this for the winter times. Obviously I'm not gonna buy it right now because I don't need it right now. I have like 4 other foundations I have to use before I even think about buying new foundations. And I think I have a somewhat of the Dior foundation as is, which is already light enough for me to use over the winter time. That's also kind of on the sheerer side, so it's fine. But I actually really like this. I do love the NARS foundations. I think they're really, really good, and most of the times I can actually find a shade that works for me. But I realized Patagonia and the Sheer Glow version is more of a summer shade for me, but then I need Punjab for it to work in the winter times for me. And I mean, these are so expensive that I'm sometimes scared to buy this again, but it is such a beautiful foundation. Like, it works so well that I feel like I would need this and I would want this in my collection. So there's that. But the only issue that I have with this is the fact that we pay so much money for this and the note's in a fucking pump and you have to buy it separately, which is just so silly. But yeah, at least I've used this up now, and I got to like actually enjoy the product. I've used this up for most of the weddings that I've attended all the time when I was doing my makeup in the winter times, and generally just I really love this. I think with the NARS foundations you kind of need to figure out what type of finish you want and buy a base of that. But if you're somebody who has oily skin, using this for the summertime, it just isn't going to work. And it took me how many years after to realize that that was the case with this foundation. And honestly, when I started using this in the winter, I was generally so shocked with how beautiful it sat on my skin and how long it lasted. Because in the summer times it's very hard. It's such a struggle, and where I'm so oily anyway, it's just not worth using something like this because it's just gonna like become really oily very quickly. But yeah, I'm just so glad I was able to use up as many makeup products as I have so far. I'm really slacking in terms of makeup usage this year. I mean, I spent so long being sick, but even now I'm sick again. You can probably hear it from my voice, which isn't really helpful. But I would really love to have some more makeup empties by the end of the year. I don't necessarily know if I will, but if I am to pick up my makeup usage, there is a chance I could have quite a few more empties. But again, it's just one of those things that will only happen if I actually like start using makeup again like I used to use. Because back in 2023, I used to do my makeup so often. I was flying through products because I was using things so like all the time. Even for a good chunk of 2024 was the same thing. Like, I flew through quite a decent chunk of products, but it's just this year I haven't really done makeup that often, and it's been so chaotic. But hopefully, I mean, there's still like 4 months left, maybe like 5 months left. No, August, September, October, November, December. Yeah, 5 months left of worth of empties. So you never know what else I can use that, but we'll see. But that's everything for the month of July. I hope you guys enjoyed this update, and hopefully I'll have some more empties to share with you guys next month. Because I've used so many up this month, I don't know what that's going to look like for August. But that being said, you just never know. You never know with these products and how I decide to use things up. But yeah, that's everything for today's video. Thank you so much for stopping by and checking me out. I'll catch you next week with another video. Bye.